This is a video of the review notes that we did in class to help prepare for the test. So the first thing we're going to review is the key features. So for the domain is our x values, and you read them from left to right. So as I look over here onto the left, I've got an arrow indicating that it's going to keep going out to the left. So my left side is negative infinity. On the right side, it stops at 9, so I have 9 and then parentheses. For the range is the y values, and I'm going to read it from bottom to top. So down here I've got nothing, and it starts right here at -6. At -6 I have a closed-in circle, so it's a bracket. Now it looks like maybe it stops at 4, but it doesn't, because this arrow keeps going up, so it continues up and goes to positive infinity. Okay, couple things to point out. First of all, negative infinity can only go on the left. Positive infinity can only go on the right. Infinities always have parentheses. This 9 had a parentheses because it had an open circle, but the -6 had a bracket because it has a closed circle. All right, intercepts. Intercepts are where it crosses the different axes. So x-intercepts are where it crosses the x-axis. So on this one, we have 4 x-intercepts. -9, 0, -3, 0, 2, 0, and 7, 0. We only have one y-intercept. Y-intercept is 0, 1. Okay? When you're writing x-intercepts, it should always be some number, comma 0. And when you're writing y-intercepts, it should be 0, comma some number. All right, positive and negative intervals. Positive and negative intervals is where we cut the graph in half. Positive intervals are anything that is above the x-axis. So we have 1, 2, 3 sections that are above the x-axis. So we're going to have 3 intervals. So starting with the one on the left, even though the arrow is pointing up, the x values are going to the left, which is negative. So that first one starts at negative infinity and ends at -9. -9 has a parentheses because it's on the x-axis. It's neither above or below. The next interval starts at -3 and ends at 2. Those are both parentheses because those numbers are on the x-axis, neither above or below, neither positive or negative. The last one starts at 7 and it ends at 9. 9 is going to have a parentheses because 9 is clearly above and clearly positive. However, it had an open circle. If this was closed, then this would have been a bracket, but it's not, so that does not happen. Okay? So now that we've got the 3 positive, we can look at the 2 negative zones we've got here and here. So the first negative zone is from -9 to -3, and the next one is from 2 to 7. When you do positive and negative, increasing and decreasing, you are only looking at the x-axis. It does not matter how far up and down it is. You're just reading the region from left to right. Okay, now that we've done positive and negative, let's do increasing and decreasing. So from left to right, this first section is going down. So this first section is decreasing. Even though it's pointing up, the x values are going to the left, so it starts at negative infinity and stops decreasing where it changes directions at -6. You do not say where it crosses the x-axis, you say where it changes directions. The next one from left to right is going up, so the next region is from -6 to -2, and that is increasing. The next section is going down, and that is from -2 to +6. Again, not where it crosses the x-axis, but where it changes directions. And you read everything off the x. And over here, I go left to right. It starts increasing at +6. It ends at 9. For increasing and decreasing, you will never have brackets. Positive and negative, every once in a while will have a bracket. The main time you're going to see brackets is for domain and range. Okay, rate of change. This is giving you an interval. These are the x values. So to be able to figure this rate of change out, or slope, you need to find or to be able to figure out the rate of change of this interval, you need to find the slope. But this is the x value, so it represents two different points. One is -8 something, and the other is -6 something. The way you find the y values of those points is to read them off the graph. So at -8 on the x, I go down to my graph, and I can see that it is at -2. That is my first point. At -6 on the graph, I can go down and see that it's at -6. That is my second point. Now that I have my 2 points, I'm going to plug it into the slope formula. So the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So when I plug it in, I get -6 minus -2 over -6 minus -8. Minus a negative is plus a positive, so I get -4 over 2, which reduces to -2. This one happens to reduce, but they're not all going to reduce. Piecewise functions. On this one, we've got 1, 2, 3 graphs, so we're going to need 3 equations. Equation 1 is a flat line, so it's going to be horizontal y equals a number. We don't do any work. Number 2, first thing we're going to do is figure out the slope. So we count from the left to an intersection point. So we go down 1, right 1. So my slope on number 2 is -1 over 1. My y-intercept, well, my y-intercept is given. It's easy to see. It crosses at 5. So my equation is y equals -1x, or just -x, plus 5. On the third one, okay, I can always count my slope. I start on the left and go to an intersection point. So I go up 2, right 1. So my slope is 2 over 1. The y-intercept isn't given, but I can find it. The opposite of going up and to the right is going down 2 and to the left. Not there yet. Keep going. Down 2 and the left. Not there. Down 2 and to the left. Now we've got it. Oops. Okay, so my y-intercept is at 7, so my equation is y equals 2x plus 7. Now that I have my equations, now I can write my piecewise function. Start with f of x, I have to go left to right. My first equation is horizontal, so it's y equals, or fx equals, a number. It crosses the axis at 8, so it's 8. That's the equation. If, and now I write the domain. It goes from -6 to -1. -6 has an open circle, so it's less than. -1 has a closed circle, so it's less than or equal to. Equation 2 is in red. We found that. -x plus 5, comma, if. Write your domain. It goes from -1 to 3. Those are both open circles, so both less than symbols. Last equation, equation 3, is 2x plus 7. If, write the domain. Starts at 1, goes to 6. The last one we need to graph. Okay, so on the first one, when it says f of x equals, there's supposed to be an f of x here, sorry, got left out. Okay, when it says f of x equals a number, that's a flat horizontal line. Okay, normally we have it in between 2 points, but we don't have it this time. We know it's going to be an horizontal line at 4 somewhere. We got to figure out where. We know at 4, -6, I'm going to have a point. And we know it's all the numbers less than, so it's going to go to the right or the left. And we don't have an endpoint, it just keeps going. On the next one, we need to figure out where it starts and where it stops. So it starts at -6. I'm going to plug in -6 plus 4, which gives me -2. So the point I'm going to graph, I plugged in -6 for x, and in return I got -2. Where it stops, I'm going to plug in 0. So I plugged in 0, I got 4 as an answer, that's where it stops. Because this is a less than, I'm going to have an open circle at -6 too. Excuse me, -2. And, oh, I graphed this one wrong. I put it at the wrong spot. This one was supposed to start at -6, I'm sorry. Okay, and then this point, 0, 4, is an open circle. At 0, 4, connect the dots. Same thing for the next line. It starts at 0, so I'm going to do -2 times 0 plus 1, which is 1. So I plugged in 0 and I got 1. It ends at 5, so I'm going to have -2 times 5 plus 1. So that's -10 plus 1 is -9. So I plugged in 5, I got -9. Now at 0 and at 5, they have less than or equal to, so it's closed circles. So 0, 1 here, closed circle. 5, negative 9. Here, close circle. Connect the dots. There's my graph.